What do I do when my spouse spends too much? How do I keep my spouse on track? Hi, I'm Monica Louie from OurDebtFreeFamily.com, and as a financial coach, I hear these questions all the time. If you're married or in a committed relationship, then you know that there are a lot of complexities involved when two lives join together. Your two paths must move in the same direction with similar values, lifestyles, and goals for your future. While all of your interests don't need to be exactly the same, the direction that you're both heading in life must follow a similar trajectory. Of course, there are always exceptions to every rule, but most long-term relationships can't foresee a future together if one person wants to live in the hustle and bustle of New York City, while the other has their heart set on raising a family in the quiet plains of Montana. As is the case if you want to live a life of debt freedom and your partner wants to continue living above their means, relying on debt to fund their lifestyle. Those two worlds are not aligned. Being out of alignment with your spouse in such a huge area of life as financial goals can create a lot of tension, to say the least. That's why fighting about money is the top predictor of divorce. So today I'm going to give you 4 strategies you can use if you are completely committed to kicking debt to the curb, but your spouse is sabotaging any progress you make by spending whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Strategy number 1 is to make sure that you're on the same page. If you and your spouse haven't agreed on your current financial goals, then review my article on how to get your spouse on board. And you can find that at OurDebtFreeFamily.com/spouse. So follow those steps to come to an agreement on where your financial life is headed. Now, assuming that you've both agreed on your current financial goals, but your spouse isn't following the plan, strategy number 2 is to make sure that you're giving him a chance to provide input. Because I love numbers and spreadsheets, my husband is perfectly willing to let me run with creating our budget and just tell him how much we have to spend on things. But he needs to take ownership of the process too. So every month when I create our new budget, I will create the first draft and I will show him the numbers to get his input. And I'll ask if there are any changes that he wants to make. And since we've been doing this for so long, a lot of times he agrees with my numbers and we move forward. But there are still times when he wants to make some changes, and that is perfectly okay. Instead of arguing my reasoning further, I agree to his numbers because I want him to be part of the process. I don't want him to think that his opinion doesn't matter, because having him share ownership of the budget is much more important than having a $10 or $20 discrepancy in a spending category. Strategy number 3 is to make sure that you both have spending money built into your budget, and of course that you agree on those amounts. Whether you come up with a weekly, monthly, or annual amount, make sure that you both explicitly agree to those amounts and that you agree on what comes out of those amounts. For example, our spending money is used for when we want to buy ourselves something that isn't included in another category of our budget, such as a gadget for my husband or a mani-pedi for me. Oftentimes, it's our coffee or lunch money when we are out and about by ourselves. I've heard time and time again from moms that they're using their spending money to buy things for their kids or someone else. So if you find that you're using your spending money to buy things for your kids or someone else, consider whether those purchases should be coming out of another category in your budget, such as gifts. For us, anything that we purchase for someone else, even our kids, comes out of our gifts budget. Strategy number 4 is if your spouse is having a hard time sticking to his allotted spending money, then try setting up a reward system to help keep you and your partner on track. For example, I spoke with a woman whose husband would occasionally buy expensive sports equipment, even though it wasn't in their budget. He worked hard for his money and they both felt that he deserved it, but it was throwing their plan to become debt-free in a few years off track. And it was causing her to have growing resentment because she was doing a better job of sticking to the plan and avoiding splurges. I suggested that she have a conversation with her husband about their common goal to become debt-free and set up a reward system. They could add a savings category to their budget for her husband's sports equipment, and then they could add to it each month. Or they could agree that once they paid off their next debt or reached their next milestone on their journey, that he could have his next piece of sports equipment then. And I also suggested that she have some sort of reward at each milestone too. Doing so will keep them both moving forward toward their goals and satisfied that they're making a point to enjoy their money as well. She'll have peace of mind that they're making progress, and he'll no longer be sabotaging their hard work. To recap, here are the 4 strategies one more time. Strategy number 1 is to make sure that you are on the same page. Strategy number 2 is to make sure that you're giving him a chance to provide input. Strategy number 3 is to make sure that you both have spending money built into your budget, and of course, that you both agree on those amounts. And strategy number 4 is to set up a reward system to keep you and your partner on track. If you follow these strategies and your spouse is still spending too much, then review your budget categories and make sure that the amounts are realistic. It may be that even if you agree on the amounts, that you're trying to be too stringent. It's better to loosen up a bit on the numbers and extend your payoff date by a few months than to get discouraged and give up entirely. I truly believe that working together on your goal of becoming debt-free will bring you and your spouse closer and make your marriage stronger. I've seen it happen in my marriage, and I've heard the same from my clients as well. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced one partner in your relationship spending too much? If so, how did you deal with it, and what advice do you have for those in this situation? Please share in the comments below. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I would be honored if you would share this with your friends. And I invite you to join me in our private Facebook group called Your Debt Freedom Family, where I share more tips like this, and we've got an awesome community of people who are kicking debt to the curb so they can break free and live life on their terms. Just head over to ourdebtfreefamily.com/yourfamily to join. I'd love to see you there. Remember, keep moving forward toward your goals. You really can live the life that you dream about. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.